Welcome to PTG admissions. This video will cover the application timeline and deadlines for both AMCAS and AACOMAS. My name is Elise. I'm the manager of timelines and setup at PTG admissions. I put my email here if you have questions, but it'll also be at the end of the video. So what is AMCAS? I'm going to be referring to the American Medical College Application Service as AMCAS for the rest of the video. So when I say that, I'm referring to the application system for most allopathic medical schools. AACOMAS is the American Association of Colleges of Osteopathic Medicine. This is the application system used by osteopathic medical schools. In this, I'll be covering all the dates starting from the very beginning of the process all the way through to matriculation to medical school. So don't worry if you've already completed some of these or if you have yet to start on this process. I will also have a video on alternative timelines. So if you've taken or plan to take a gap year after graduating, or if you want to attend a graduate program before medical school, I'll have info about all of those things in a separate video. So this timeline starts the calendar year before you want to apply to medical school. So 2022, if you plan to apply in the 2023-24 cycle and attend medical school starting in the fall of 2024. This would be the fall of your junior or second to last year of college if you plan to attend medical school the fall after graduating. So from September to December, anytime in your fall semester, the earlier the better. You'll want to plan a meeting with your pre-med or academic advisor just to let them know you plan to apply in the upcoming cycle. They can tell you what classes you have left or any prerequisite courses you may need to take before attending medical school. In September through October 12th, you'll want to open an AAMC account and fill in the demographic sections. This will save you time when you go and register for the MCAT. You can also open an AACOMAS account, but you'll only need the AAMC account in order to register for the MCAT. And once you've registered for the AAMC account, you'll be able to apply to the fee assistance program if eligible. Check to see if you or your family meets the requirements of eligibility. It can help reduce MCAT registration fees. It can also give you free access to the MSAR, free MCAT prep tools, and waive all application fees for one cycle up to 20 schools. Assistance is not retroactive though. So if you want to receive aid for the MCAT, make sure to apply before registering. This is the homepage for the AAMC login. You'll want to click create an account unless you've already applied in a previous cycle, in which case you'll just use your old login credentials. And this is the AACOMAS homepage. Same rules, you'll click create an account unless you've already applied using the system before. And all the links and websites I mentioned in this video will be available to you in a document so you can access them on your own as well. Registration for January through June MCAT dates opens at noon Eastern time on October 13th if you live in the purple states and October 14th if you live in the blue states. If you're planning to apply for the upcoming cycle, we recommend taking the MCAT around June. You may also take it before June, but it's wise to allow yourself about 5 weeks after finishing your school exams to prepare solely for the MCAT. Be sure to open the registration for the MCAT site about 30 minutes before registration opens to ensure a slot in the randomized waiting list. In December and January, you'll want to begin writing your personal statement and experience descriptions in your pre-application document. We suggest you aim to have a rough draft of each section completed by January or the end of your winter break. There are templates of the information you'll need for the experience sections of the real application on this document, things like contact info, hours, etc. It's also wise to update your resume or CV over break. Some letter writers or your school's pre-med committee may request to see your resume or CV before they can write your letter. In January, you'll send your advisor a copy of your pre-application document for them to review. And on February 8th at noon Eastern, registration opens for July through September MCAT dates. If you plan to take the MCAT early, so before your spring semester of junior year, or plan to take a gap year after your senior year, you would take the MCAT in your senior year in that case. These test dates may work for you if you're prepared. There are no test dates in February, October, November, or December, so keep that in mind when choosing a test date. In February through March, you're going to work with your advisor to edit and finish up your personal statement and activities paragraphs in the pre-application document. This is a good time to reach out to potential letter writers and ask for letters of evaluation recommendation. This is best done in person if possible. If you're expecting a committee letter on your behalf of your school, meet with your pre-med advisor to ask them and ensure they're aware of the deadline. If you're requesting personal letters, at minimum, AMCAS will ask you to submit 2 from science professors of classes that you've taken and 1 from a non-science professor. These letters are going to be sent directly to AMCAS by the individual professors. Or if you're requesting a committee letter, your school will send a letter packet. AACOMAS is a little different. They will require some more letters. You can submit 2 to 6 total letters through AACOMAS. Generally, if you're submitting all 6, you'll want these to be 3 academic letters from undergraduate professors, again, 2 from science and 1 from non-science professors. 1 to 2 letters from extracurricular pursuits, so those would be things like research or clinical experience. And at least 1 of your letters must be from a DO doctor. Some schools have differing requirements though, so make sure you check each school you plan to apply to for their specific requirements. In May and June, you'll want to reach out to your letter writers to follow up and see if they need any more information to complete their letter. You won't be able to have them submit their letters until applications open. So be sure to follow up with them again as you get ready to open an application so you can pass along information they'll need to submit their letter. Once applications open and they do submit their letter, do not forget to write them a thank you letter. This is very important. On May 4th, both systems open their applications for the next cycle. If you haven't already taken the MCAT, but you're scheduled to sit for one, you can still submit your application once all the other sections are complete. But it's advised to only add 1 school to your application until you've received your scores back. Once you've gotten your final scores, then you can decide what and how many schools you want to add. In May and June, you'll want to request and upload your official transcripts. You may want to request them on the earlier side of this period, as processing them may take a while when many students are requesting transcripts for their graduate school applications. In early June, you'll want to submit your applications for AMCAS and AACOMAS. Applications open in May, but aren't transmitted to schools until early June. So in early June, schools will start being sent these applications to review, and that's when you'll want to send yours. Like I said, unless you're taking the exam early or plan on taking a gap year, this is the optimal time to take the MCAT. If you take the MCAT in June, your scores should be released in July, about 6 weeks after you sat for the exam. Use MSAR, which is the medical school's admission requirements, to see which schools' averages align with your score and GPA, so that you know which ones you can add to your application. In July through August is when you should be receiving and completing secondary applications if you submitted your primary application back in June. Each school will send requirements for when they expect your responses when they send the invitation. And do not worry if you don't receive as many invitations as you hoped for. Not every school will tell you why you didn't receive one, but remember, it only takes 1 school to make it to medical school. If you decide to do the early decision program, these are the requirements. The deadline for this program is August 2nd. It's not highly recommended, but it's an option. So if you want to take a look, these are the information. If you receive an invitation for an interview, these happen starting in August and go until April. A good portion of schools are still operating under remote conditions going forward, so meaning no travel, but be sure to read the specifics of your invitation. October and November is the absolute deadline period for primary applications. Specific dates for MD programs vary by school, but can be found on MSAR or the AAMC participating medical schools and deadlines list. That will be one of the links that's given to you in the document. Do not wait until this time to submit your application. Some DO schools begin deadlines starting in October, but most are open until about February or March of the next year. Again, do not wait until this point to submit your primary application. Applications are first come, first serve, and if they meet the maximum number of applicants early, you may miss your chance to continue applying, which you do not want. If you've been accepted to a medical school, congratulations. If you have multiple acceptances, your deadline to pick which school you will attend will be in April. Of course, make sure you do your research on each school in the time that you have before then. I mentioned earlier that most allopathic medical schools use AMCAS. This is the list of schools that do not use AMCAS. If you want to apply to any of these schools, you'll have to use the Texas Medical and Dental Application Service. If you have any other questions, you can reach out to me at my email or reach out to your advisor. You can also visit admissions.parityglobal.org.